Rick Wilson.
Hello, Molly. How are you?
I am not at Camp David.
Neither am I this time. And I have to say, everyone is surprised that Donald Trump is at Camp David because the exact quote before was, "I get fucking bored there in 30 minutes," and does not like Camp David.
Has he even ever? I mean, it's funny because it's like we're 18, 19 months into Trump's second term. He's probably been there once or twice.
I think he's been there in this administration, never. And I think he went once or twice in the previous. So this is either the second or third time that I can recall. And what's curious about the whole thing, Molly, is...
Tell us why one might want to go to Camp David over Mar-a-Lago.
Just what I was about to say. There is a degree to which I am very curious. If you were looking for somewhere very private, where you wanted to say, I don't know, I'm going to speculate, and this is just speculation, folks. If you wanted to have, like, doctors come and attend to you, not at the White House or not have to go to Walter Reed, you might go to Camp David. You might want to get away.
Because people can't photograph who's coming in and out. Explain.
Explain
what it's like. You've been there.
So one time, it is way up in the Catoctin Mountains of Maryland.
Okay.
It is you go down a long set of pretty much back roads, and there will be more checkpoints than the law allows. Nobody sneaks up on Camp David. Nobody creeps through the woods to get to Camp David unless they want to die. And nobody flies a drone over Camp David unless they want the drone shot down. Right. It is a restricted airspace, restricted facility. It's inside this big national forest area, and it's very lovely. But it's the exact opposite of Trump. It's Adirondack Lodge style, Mountain Lodge style, no gold leaf anywhere, no gold toilets, no shag carpet in the bathroom. Every president has traditionally loved Camp David in its modern iteration because no one's around. The pressure is absolutely off. There's no cameras. There's only the pool reporters who come with. And as far as I've seen, the pool's been very quiet this weekend.
You don't think there's a world where he's like in Camp David negotiating? I mean, right now, no, you think
no. Look, I think he has spent vastly more time in the last 2 weeks worried about the UFC fight and the reflecting pool and the Kennedy Center than he has dealing with the global crisis he caused by getting into a stupid war with Iran that we didn't have to do.
Yeah. And I would love to just talk about the war for a minute because I think it's relevant in this moment for any number of reasons. But this week we saw Trump signed a peace treaty, very exciting. And then basically Netanyahu continued bombing
Lebanon.
Correct. And what struck me about this is that we've seen now both Biden had trouble with this, but Trump is really having trouble with it.
Oh, yeah.
Netanyahu doesn't really care what you tell him to do.
People in American politics, they look at Netanyahu in two phases. The pre-Trump phase, where he worked with Republican presidents and Democratic presidents, and the behavior of Israel in that period of time was much more bounded and much more, they didn't want to cross lines with us. We didn't want to cross lines with them. So they weren't going and doing things like this current bombing program in Lebanon. They weren't doing things like bouncing the rubble in Gaza. Even though October 7th changed a lot of that, in the Trump era, Netanyahu has always gotten what he wants from Trump. Mm-hmm. Every single time, 100% of the time, until the last, 4 days, where Trump is openly, 3 or 4 weeks, let me rephrase that. He's out there openly like, no, what the fuck is wrong with you? Don't do this, don't do that. And I think that is because Trump is, as you and I both know, is a guy who reads the polling. Bibi Netanyahu is wildly unpopular in the United States. In the United States, I think there's a widening differential between what people think of Bibi Netanyahu and his government, Israel as a country, and Israel as the Jewish homeland. And I think in that first box, the number of Americans that support a free reign for Bibi to do whatever he wants, no matter what the implications are on the rest of the global stage, that's gotten to be a very narrow audience right now.
As a very diplomatic way to explain it. We also saw Miriam Adelson, who is a Republican mega donor, the widow of Sheldon, and someone for whom Israel is pretty much, she's a single issue, she's the crypto of Israel.
Right.
And her newspaper came out with a really scathing editorial.
Right.
And
with Dan Zachem, right? Came out and just said, you failed, you blew it, whatever. I read it the other morning and I was like, if you've lost Miriam Adelson in the US, you've lost the plot when it comes to the American relationship with Israel. And
this was around the time that J.D. Vance got up and did something that I think is pretty, I'm not sure there's a precedent for, where he started to treat Israel as if it was like a vassal state. Will you talk about that?
Yeah, JD, and I actually heard from somebody in Israel about that.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
The level of shock about that was quite remarkable. And that was from somebody who is not a fan of Netanyahu in Israel, who is definitely not in that BB camp. And the disrespect that Vance showed in their eyes was quite striking. And this person said to me, he clearly wants Tucker as an ally more than us. And they scanned that, they read that as Vance being anti-Israel. In fairness, I don't think you could read it as any other context of that. And no matter how much you disagree with the Netanyahu government, the way Vance treated it was in that Trumpian, non-diplomatic diplomacy way of like fuck you, pay me.
Like he treated Ukraine.
Yeah, like he treated Ukraine. And look, it strikes me over and over again, the only country that they think can never be offended, the only country they walk around on little delicate tiptoes about is Russia.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
There's also the question behind the scenes of whether or not J.D. Vance was freelancing or whether he was actually transmitting the belief of Trump. What do you think there?
So my understanding right now is that J.D. Vance is to some degree freelancing, but he's trying to coordinate with Kushner and Witkoff. He's trying to also maneuver himself politically for 28, obviously, just as Marco is, who said Marco's like might as well be in the witness protection program in the last 10 days.
I haven't seen him.
Right. Where's Marco?
Yeah.
But I think Vance is definitely playing a game here of striking out on his own a bit. And again, he knows that Trump is bored with all this. Trump wants to talk about the reflecting pool and the terrorist vandals pouring chemicals in the reflecting pool and post weird pictures of people from
John Catsimatidis'
wife
from the 80s or 90s. I mean, I don't think that's a recent photo.
I got nothing.
Talking at a corded phone.
Yeah, it looked like a picture that was taken during like W's era at Camp David. Maybe they went there. I don't know. But all of this is like Donald Trump is not into this war. He's bored with it. He wants it to be done. So he's thrown it on J.D. Vance, and J.D. will inevitably take the radiation from it when it fails, because it is wired to fail. They sent J.D. over there on the little plane, which as much as J.D.'s like, oh, the plane broke. We didn't. There are two special air mission aircraft, 767s, that the vice president and senior government officials use. Are you telling me both of those were broken at one time? I know the 89th Military Airlift Wing guys, and that ain't them. They are the best in the world. Right. So
he's on
JD
a
got
tiny
sent on the small plane.
Jet. Yes.
Yeah, on a Gulfstream 4 that was built in like 1987.
The photos coming out of that peace talk in Switzerland.
Icy.
Yeah, they don't there's videos of him getting snubbed by the Kuwaitis. Yep. There's videos of him looking lost, and
there's a video of him making a joke that was like just on the line of racism. The most important people in my life are an Indian and a Pakistani. What the fuck, dude?
But the other thing that I think is important here is that no one has ever had a worse book tour than J.D. Vance.
Well, I noticed that Amazon and Goodreads now no longer, they've frozen the reviews of J.D. Vance's book.
Oh, really?
They no longer allow people on Goodreads to rate J.D. Vance's book, which is an Amazon company, by the way. Right. But on Amazon itself, you got to be a confirmed purchaser. And of the confirmed purchasers, there are like 6 reviews total. So I'm not super sanguine that JD's going to have a big bestseller here. I suspect everybody wants to run a presidential campaign, writes a campaign book. This is JD Vance's campaign book. And it is for a guy who works for a man who does not believe in anything except gold leaf, glitter, and self-aggrandizement. JD writing about faith and how it's informing every one of his decisions, it doesn't quite ring true to anybody. So I suspect JD's in for a harder ride than he thinks.
What's interesting in my mind is that there's a book about how he's discovered he's come to Catholicism and
Right.
converted to Catholicism. And so some of the videos that we've seen, when not talking about the war that he has completely
Right.
botched, are these videos of him trying to justify Ross Dothat, who was a Catholic, nobody who's a Catholic, asked him how he justifies going to Catholicism and working for Donald Trump. And that is an innocent question from someone who, he obviously is a serious Catholic.
It's a legitimate inquiry by a legitimate,
you don't have to say. But anyway, the point is, it's a good faith question, right? It's when someone who is Catholic and whose Catholicism is very important to them is asking a question like that of someone who has just written a book about Catholicism. Like, it makes a lot of sense. And Vance has a lot of trouble threading that needle.
I think also there's something here about Vance himself. And I wonder how he got through OCIA and did the adult Catholic, a session without really facing some of these questions. This guy is a shapeshifter. He's changed his name 4 or 5 or 6 times. His biography is this mutable and fungible sort of, upbringing where sometimes it's the poorest white trash living up in the holler.
Right.
And other times it's a middle-class life with some speed bumps in it. And other times he's on the swift road to the meritocracy.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing, there's a sense that JD Vance is always a work in progress, under revision for whatever the new audience is. And so I think there will be naturally people who will want to ask questions like Ross did, and want to ask questions like, talk to us about your journey of faith. Talk to us about how this really happened. Talk to us about, do you consider these things? Because when you become a Catholic later in life through RCIA or OCIA, whatever they call it now, it is a different process than if you're a cradle Catholic. He is supposed to really have introspection about this journey. And I rarely see JD Vance demonstrate any introspection. I see him generate excuses about everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I don't think it's illogical that he's going to be asked these questions. I also think there's something very telling here. Let's remember when Trump posted the picture of himself as Jesus, JD Vance was saying, "Oh, what does the Pope know? The Pope needs to stay out of theology questions."
Right.
No, brother, that's what the Holy Father's job is.
Yeah, you're on the wrong side of the Pope publishing a book about your Catholicism. It's a wild time to be JD Vance. And honestly, he'd much better off if they're asking him about the book versus asking him about the war that he can't end.
Listen, if he spends too much time in Geneva with the Iranians, it's going to be My Journey to Islam by JD Vance.
But the thing that I think is relevant about this war is that Donald Trump obviously was in a panic to start it, right? And there's questions of whether or not that was to distract from the Epstein files or what, or whether...
Or Netanyahu
who knows? Or he was emboldened from what happened with
Venezuela.
I mean, there are any number of bad reasons why this started.
Right.
But it did strike me that he seemed desperate to make it end. Like somebody got to him and said, the gas prices, you're polling, you're going to lose the House.
And the Saudis and the Qataris went to Jared and to Witkoff and said, we're cutting you fuckers off if you don't stop this.
Right. And so that's why Trump did this MOU that is completely doesn't get him anything.
I've owned this, Molly, several times in public. When the 2014 JCPOA came out, I said, how the fuck can you trust the Iranians to do anything? This is insane. You shouldn't do this. And yet it worked. And I admit that it worked. JCPOA was working. What Trump has done is unwound every bit of what the JCPOA did to slow down Iran's nuclear desires. He has now not only said, you get $300 billion, you get all the sanctions on your country lifted, you get to control the Strait of Hormuz.
You don't get to charge a toll for 2 months.
Right. American forces will leave the region.
Yeah.
What is the upside for us right now? To reopen the Straits of Hormuz, which were open before the war?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not even working. It's a desperate play, and it's not even working because Trump doesn't have the control he needs to get the peace he wants.
No, and look, we ran 21,000 sorties, bombing and anti-air sorties into Iran during the course of Operation Epic Failure.
Right. We
only ran about 100,000 during the first Gulf War. So we were right up there. This is and things are much more accurate now, right? So you don't need to fly as many sorties as you used to. We can't do another round of this because we won't have any weapons left in the arsenal.
Right.
We're out of a lot of specially guided weapons. We're out of a lot of anti-radar weapons. We're out of a lot of JDAMs. We're out of a lot of these things that make American air power so ferocious and terrifying. We used them.
Right.
We're done. We've been shipping them from the Pacific Theater to drop on Iran. Trump doesn't have a military option left.
Right.
He is a paper tiger now, and he has weakened America by doing this in a fundamental way.
And we are billions of dollars in the hole, and 11 American soldiers, 13 American soldiers,
13 Americans dead. We have been trying to chase down the number of injured and wounded, which they've been very hesitant to release. Right. This is a categorical disaster.
Yeah. And we have, the flu ripping through the United States Army because
Pete Hegseth said, hey, don't worry about those vaccinations, fellas.
They're woke.
The woke vaccinations. And now at Lackland Air Force Base, we have hundreds of cases of flu and 1 death so far. Good job, Pete. Brilliant.
Rick Wilson.
Medical autonomy, he called it. Yes, Molly.
Will you come back?
Can I come back?
Can you come back?
I love you. Mean it.